Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the third season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series. This evening, we're excited to be bringing you top one action for the weekly Strength of Field race for the virtual Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action for all types of racing, including the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you are racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the move tonight once more is Brendan Lester, with TJ Lyon working the controls as our producer as we get set to go racing from the Rock. Braden, Rockingham is a track that's currently in the midst of an attempt to have a resurgence, in the midst of a comeback attempt. It's a track you're familiar with the real world, and fantastic on our racing. What do we expect tonight?
That is going to be one of the most unique tracks to see on your screen there. It's kind of shaped like your classic cookie cutter, but it's not. It's only about a mile in length, not a mile and a half like your traditional intermediate track. Your corners are 22 and 25 degrees banking, and the straightaway is about 5 degrees. So very old surface too. This asphalt on the scan is over 30 years old. Very bumpy, very rough, and going to destroy these trucks and their tires. So it's going to be about tire saving at night and who can keep a calm head.
And in turn, as we get set for tonight's action, we get ready for the run up to the middle of the season. Rockingham wants one of the final races before we get ready for the falling of the real world schedule in late February. But for many of the drivers, you're talking about needing to survive short tracks for the next few weeks, especially the Rock, Myrtle Beach, and the Coliseum. Amongst those that are doing well in that effort, Colin Bowden, Jack Mace amongst the top drivers, the point, 7 points the difference. You also throw in Ryan Zimmer, who's up within 9 points of the lead. J-Bo's making a resurgence this season with the chance for the championship. Colin Keister, Matt Cucker are both tied for fifth in the point standings entering tonight. Ryan Andrew, Peyton Howell, Julian Valentes, and Dakota Lawn amongst the top 10 in this point standings coming into this week's time slots. And so far, it's been interesting when it comes to the S.O.F races. A lot of those names have been fairly frequent here.
Yeah, the points battle, like I just mentioned, is really heating up. I mean, this is one of the tighter points battles for 5 weeks into the season that we've seen the past couple seasons here in the Maconi C-Fix Setup Shop Truck Series. So, going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And like I said, survival is going to be key. I mean, we're going to Willow Springs next week. That is a track that I don't think many of these guys even own, let alone have experience on.
For many drivers, Willow Springs will be a twist back into time. For many years, it's been a prominent spot for filming, but also in racing lore for the 1950s and 60s. But racing lore is built up when it comes to the Rock as well. And tonight, the once known North Carolina Motor Speedway gets ready to see drivers zip around the track. 22 entrants, the S.O.F 4,105. Let's take a look at how the drivers start tonight. Go row by row and grid by grid. Wesley Parker, Dakota Lawn in row 1. Thomas Reed, Jonathan Tuckness in the second row. The difference between first and fourth was about a couple 100s. Jack Mason, Jeffrey Maconi pulling out a sixth-place qualifying run. Behind him, Joey Misevich. Then it's Ricky Howell Jr., Jonathan Evans, and Tyler Merritt inside the top 10, Braden.
Kyle Hardy and Lucas Strayer 11th and 12th, and you're going to have Daniel Monick and Ronnie Joyner right behind them in row 7. Then you're going to have Matthew Wood, Tristan Bruce, a common competitor in the C-Fix series, in 15th and 16th. Stephen Daniel and Mac Steinminer rounding out your drivers that took a time, and your 4 drivers that did not take a time. You see them on your screen there: Chance Manning, Jacob Reeves, Andrew DeYoung, and Dylan Thoreau. So it's kind of a bit of a gamble not taking time at a track like this. You only have 40 laps. These are going to go by very quick, only about 25-ish second laps on the old tires. So I don't think not qualifying was a move for some of these guys.
Yeah, let's take a look more at that Maconi Setup Shop race analysis. To keep in mind, 2 laps to qualify, 40 laps up on the board. So you're talking about a racetrack where we're running 23-second lap times up to 25 once the tires wear in. You're talking about a race, if it goes green, you're done in 20 minutes. That's, as you said, an interesting call. There are only 2 tire sets in the pits as well tonight.
I mean, we're definitely going to go through them. We've had not a whole lot of cautions, it seemed, in the C6 series this season. It's been hit or miss. We might go the whole race without having one. Last week, Kentucky was few and far between, and Michigan was about every 3.5 laps. So with a shorter track, the tighter racing they're going to have here, I mean, you can run the bottom, you can run the top. It's a very unique multi-groove track, one of the better multi-groove tracks on the service here. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers save their tires and make things count.
So internally get set for tonight. Your quick keys to a racetrack you and your Arkham and Art Series team owner are familiar with over the years.
Yeah, Andy Hillenberg, I ran quite a few races for him last year. He actually owned this track for 5, 6, 7 years and did a lot of filming. Days of Thunder was filmed here, not under his ownership, but Against All Odds was filmed here. But a lot of movies and commercials were filmed at this track. So pretty historical track as we get ready to go green and hopefully not tear too many trucks up.
Glad to have you with us. 40 laps for S.O.F night for the Maconi Setup Shop C6 Series. Green flag is out. We're racing from the Rock. And we're nearly wrecking from the Rock. It's 3 wide at a turn 1. Jonathan Tuckness nearly spins it. Expect a lot of drivers to be loose off the starts today.
Now, not a whole lot of grip. Like I mentioned, 30-plus years on this asphalt, your tires are going to be screaming the entire run. Maconi, though, kind of keeping it steady there on the bottom. He's got some company around him. He's going to get spun.
Ricky Howell Jr. goes underneath Jeffrey Maconi and floors it through. And we're under caution already with a big one in turn 4. It's lap 1. The silence says it all, does it not?
That's definitely a tough one to swallow. Let me tell you, there's not a whole lot of silence on the driver's radios, I will say that. But see Maconi there with an excellent start. Tuckness, I believe that is in the 94. He's got some loose tires there in the start. Maconi took advantage of it. Slide it in front of Ricky Howell coming off of turn 2. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room. That's Jack Mason in front of him. Little bump going into 3, and Ricky Howell just kind of sends it in the middle of the corner.
Yeah.
What's that air? Oh, yeah. Tucky's got a ton, or Howell got a ton of air there. I don't think he's got much of a truck left of anything. Maconi, he's not going to be the truck he once was, but he might not be too bad.
So in turn, we're already under caution, and several drivers elected to come in to get damage repairs. Ricky Howell Jr. already with a meatball flag as a result of that. And there's a lot of discussion over the radio involving the contact, but to turn away from the early trouble here and to take away from the Grinch now being out of the race, talking about this circuit in terms of the history, you're talking about some of the greatest drivers of all time having history here. You're talking about the Cale Yarboroughs, the Curtis Turners, the Richard Pettys, the Jarretts, the Johnsons of the world.
I mean, this is kind of like Daytona. I mean, this track was very prevalent back in the day. It ran cup races from, I believe, the 60s all the way up to the early 2000s. I mean, this is one of the most common stops and definitely a fan favorite. And fans hated to see it go. I feel like it's going to hopefully have a North Wilkesboro-style resurgence here in the next couple of years. We're going to get some stock cars back on here. That's a plan I've heard. Maybe Cars Tour in the next couple of years, street stock, something. They've done some drag racing around here. They've done a lot of drifting, and they race out what they call the Little Rock, which is a half-mile oval on the backstretch, I do believe. So, I mean, they haven't done a whole lot of actual stock car style racing here on the big mile track, but hopefully I think we can see it in the near future.
As you can see, the temperatures of the racetrack surface 87 degrees, so it's somewhat slick for the Rock. Remember, this is pre-repave from, remember, in real life, they repaved the track in late 2022 after testing went awry for one of those Cars Tour dates. And remember, this is a track that since the last time iRacing scanned the circuit, is also a part of that $40 million in taxpayer funds that went to Charlotte Motor Speedway, North Wilkesboro, and of course, the Rock. So a lot of financing coming in for the future of this circuit. We get ready to race in the capture and snapshot of time for the Rock from the scan from the early 2010s. Let's try this again. Green flag is out. We're nearly stacking up again.
And that lack of grip is definitely prevalent on this old surface, and these drivers are really struggling. But I'm going to tell you who's taking advantage of that lack of grip. That's going to be your leader, Wesley Parker in the 22 truck. about 5-6 truck links already, if not more, going into turn 3. He's got Thomas Reed though in second right behind him, making up some room.
And keep in mind, multiple lines can work if you can find momentum here, but the preference from what has been seen in the midst of testing, I should say, trying to get the double diamond down, because if you get a diamond run, you get a run off the corner. You go up high, you're crashing in the back just like that one. That's Jonathan Evans. We stay green.
Not a great run. Evans, I believe, got some damage. Number 15 truck, you saw him in the inside tire barrier. Got some damage on that last wreck, and he's going to go ahead and park it for the night.
Daniel Moex is also just wrecked under green from 21st. He hit the pit wall. We stay green. So lots of smoke flying around. Tyler Merritt amongst those getting through. Tuckness for tonight's race was asking drivers how to get around the rock. So far, he's lost 2 spots, but he's still running an average pace to the leaders.
The fast lap right now is going to go to Wesley Parker, your leader, by about a tenth, 23.5. So they're about a tenth and a half, 2 tenths off their qualifying time. Still out front, though, Zerati on board. Jack Mays currently second in points. Lost the points lead after last week at Kentucky. Try and make up every point as you can. As we've seen, it matters. I mean, last season was really close in the way the points settled out between the top 5 guys. So Jack Mays still trying to use lessons he learned last season, but the guys behind him are 3-4 wide, and they are not giving up.
Oh, here we go. More sledding. Max Steinmeier able to hold on to it. Jacob Reeves, one of our commentators from Maconi Entertainment, nearly wrecking it as well. We stay green, and we keep it clean for now, even though they're bouncing off the walls in the mid-pack.
In that mess somewhere is a very damaged Jeff Maconi towards the back of the pack. These guys single file up towards the top. There he is in the 03 machine. A lot of damage on that left jersey right on board, and he has the lovely Stephen Daniel right in front of him. But all the way back in 17th, though, qualified 6th, almost better qualifying performances of the season. Unfortunately, involved in a lap one wreck. Not a whole lot of damage, but just enough to hold him back.
Still taking a look at the mid-pack. Amongst those doing well in the mid-pack, Joey Masevich. And now he's dodging 2 more, nearly spinning. That's Chase Manning, Tristan Bruce, who both looped it nearly. Tristan Bruce, one of the top drivers, in fact, the Division II champion from last season, able to hold on to the spot. In fact, he gained ground on the battle. Manning, not so much.
Wesley Parker still their leader, actually. Coming up on lap traffic, he's got Daniel Muonek. We talked about him. He got some damage in that lap 1 wreck, hit the wall by himself earlier. Came down. He's already won that down, but Wesley Parker is right on his back bumper, and hopefully he doesn't hold him up too much because he's got Thomas Reed right behind him.
And keep in mind, Thomas Reed is a very solid driver when it comes to the fixed races. We haven't seen him too much in this time slot, but normally when he runs, he's very consistent inside the top 5. He has run with some good organizations in the past. So far, his pace is just about identical to the race leader.
And you want to talk about someone that's actually the quickest truck on track right now is Daniel Mornex in that 10 machine in front of your leader. So I think he just came out of the pits and got some fresh tires. He went down when he got damaged, so definitely took tires of something. He's kind of pulling away now from Wesley Parker. So I think he actually was 2 laps down and unlapped himself, which explains kind of why the gap closed up. Wesley had about a 5/6 tenth gap on Thomas Reed, and that gap has really closed. It's starting to widen up a little bit, but I mean, 4 thousandths of a second separated the time between first and second that last time by.
And when it comes to this racetrack, keep in mind, it's not as simple as set the fastest laps of the racetrack, you'll run away. You try and set blistering fast lap times on this circuit, especially on iRacing, you're not going to fall off like a cliff. One of the main things noticing throughout the field, if you're in the top 7 grouping, you've limited the most amount of fall off in the field. Some of the drivers only 4 tenths. Everybody else is about up to half a second to 6 tenths on fall off.
And I mean, it's getting worse and worse by the lap. I mean, some of these guys are losing over a tenth a lap. We talked about tires being bad, but this is absolutely insane.
Keeping an eye right now, one of the drivers who took some early charges, Jonathan Tuckness. He wants a spot back, not able to get one from Jack Mace. So in turn, Tuckness, one of the drivers with the Maconi Setup Shop logos once again this season. So far, he's always been fairly consistent in the top 10 in his runs this campaign. He's He's an interesting character. He's been on the service with multiple different organizations, in particular the past 5 years. At least, on the bright side, if you're up front, you're away from the side-by-sides that are building up across the back.
That Tuckness, another driver, trying to make up some lost ground. Currently 17th in points, about 180 or so off of Colin Bowden. So any point definitely helps him, but he's real close to guys like Carlos Truther and Frank Horrell right in front of him. So every point counts for Jonathan Tuckness. He had some front end damage from that earlier incident. Spun his tires on lap 1. But now we're riding on board with another driver that got some damage early on. That's Joe Masevich trying to make up some ground. After starting 7th, and he's currently running in the 14th position.
One of those who lost a lot of time as a result of some of the chaos early on. He was once those who had to get some damage repair. He's right now behind some of those in this lineup, like Matthew David Wood. Now, keep in mind, that's 6 spots up. Dylan Thoreau, who did not set a qualifying time, is right behind him. He's the biggest mover, up 12.
Now, he was ironically talking, him and a couple other guys that didn't qualify were talking as you're right on board with Dylan before the race started in the chat. Like, man, maybe we should have qualified, but Dylan's kind of made it work. He got around that first lap wreck, pretty saucy, Phil Pizza reference there. And currently inside the top 10, has a good spot, making up ground actually on Matthew Wood and running pretty competitive times close to the guys in front of him. Wesley Parker still continues to be one of the fastest trucks on the track, by about 10th or so over Thomas Reed, slowly pulling away once more. But I'm sure these guys would love a caution as we're now running mid-24. Some guys are nearing the 25 as we're 3 wide.
Oh, they're trying some of them. Jacob Reeves on the bottom, middle line for Bruce. Up top is Masevich. Masevich sends himself in the wall. Tristan Bruce nearly did the same. And somehow Reeves loses a spot from all of them hitting the wall.
Take a look at what he did. Masevich kind of made that chastain line work a little bit, gave himself a Darlington stripe as he's holding off a hard charging Tristan Bruce. I think these two being side by side, battling hard. 3 wide. There goes Chance Manning through the middle at the line. Did I mention we're over halfway in this race?
Just past the halfway mark a couple laps ago. Reeves nearly hooks Bruce. And in turn, Jacob Reeves has lost about 4 or 5 spots from all this. Keep in mind, you mentioned the top 2 running away. That's because third is trying to run away, not the same rate, 4 farm back. They're having a heavy battle. That includes 2 of the Maconi setup shop drivers. Tyler Merritt, who pushed hard early. Jonathan Tuckness, who saved, tried to push a little bit, saved, now is pushing again. Jack Mace is trying to push too. In fact, he's saying push on the radio.
We're getting bump drafting at, I said Daytona, but we're not at Daytona, right, Rockingham? We have a caution. It's going to be back in the pack. As it's Jacob Reeves, I believe, and Ricky Howe Jr. involved once again.
Second caution of the race, and that involves 3 wide yet again. Stephen Daniel also was involved. And in turn, I believe Ricky Howell Jr. may have gotten a piece of it, or at least a black flag trying to dodge the piece of it after he came out of the pit lane.
Yeah, Ricky Howell just got out of the pits, as we're going to see it here, from his lap 1 wreck. That was the battle we were just watching. 3 wide off the corner, nowhere to go. Kind of got stuffed up, and Jacob Reeves is spinning down the track, and here comes oh, it's gonna be a Ricky Howard Jr. 21 laps down. This kind of instant bystander, nowhere to go. Literally coming out of the pits on the apron still, and get some more damage. He had some required repairs, and gonna have quite a few more, I'm sure, after that. See it there? It's Tristan Bruce, I believe, in front of him, and someone sends it 3 wide in the middle, and just not a whole lot of room at a track like this to do that.
We've seen from that. Oh, and there's the hard hit from behind. Just zooming out from the pit lane as Reeves tries to get things sorted. Looks like there was a bit of contact that initially sent things up, but under 15 laps to go, 2-tire call. Jonathan Tuckness, he wins the race off pit road over Parker Reed, Dakota Lawn, and Tyler Merritt. So we'll see if anyone's getting clipped for speeding here. There was some conversation possibly on how fast some of those drivers were entering the pit lane.
40 miles an hour is the pit speed around here. A bit of a quicker pit speed for a track like this. Most of the time it's about 35. We might there. They've just mentioned. Is that Tuckness?
Yes, it is. So there goes that 2-tire call. You gotta love when you're trying to do something different and you pick up speeding while you do something different and take the lead.
Yeah, gonna come on down, and I'm not sure exactly if it's a hold or just, I believe it is, or a stop and go.
No, it's an end of longest line penalty if it's under caution. The reason he's coming back in is, why would you stay on 2 tires? You're dead last at the Rock.
True. So that's definitely gonna hurt him. We saw David make his way into the top 10 there. I'm sorry, Dylan make his way into the top 10 after starting dead last without taking qualifying time. But that was over the course of about 25 laps in a 6-car pileup. Now they're gonna have 10, 12 laps to go. Everyone's on the same tires, and I mean, it's going to absolutely be a challenge here. As I believe it's Jacob Reeves, not Reeves, that's Ricky Howell staying out. 20 laps down, so he's only just get one of his laps back. And actually going to pass Jonathan Evans on this lap, so Ricky Howell will not be finishing last tonight.
That's a bright side with Evans having his issues under green. So Wesley Parker so far has led flag to flag. So far, the Mid-South region driver doing well. It's the number 3 truck in sim based on the iRacing organization. He usually is a main fixture when it comes to these fixed races. Usually has, I believe he's a part of those, a part of the Corgi grouping.
He's got one on his back bumper, I believe. So I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, there's the Corgi. I missed it the whole time. I still don't get I still don't get the choice on the Corgis.
I mean, it's cute. I'll give it that. If I was behind him, I wouldn't want to pass him, and I just want to stare at the Corgi all day because it's so cute.
I'd like to zip by the Corgis as soon as possible, but that's just me. That's also the key if you're Thomas Reed, who starts on the outside here for the restart. Wesley Parker in control here. Everybody up front on 4 tires as they look to try and battle it out to close. Bunch of your biggest movers to watch for. Chase Manning is up to 9th. Starting inside row 5. Restart zone, green flag is out. And everyone trying to jump onto the inside line. Best start goes to Parker as they go off to 1.
So far, no chaos. Everyone kind of making it work. Tyler Merritt thought about going 3 wide between Jack Mason.
There we go. Chase Manning inside wall. Caution flag is out. And what did we say about drivers getting loose on starts? That time he got some help from the 21 to finish the job.
He got a little bit loose on his own, and I mean, you're just so tight coming off a restart like this. The entire field is within a second almost of each other, and at that point, it's hard to give up time if you're like, so stacked up. Okay, we're going to get a replay here. It's the Jeff Gordon car there, the truck, I'm sorry, the number 11, that's Chance Manning. Didn't qualify up inside the top 10, gets loose there on his own, and here comes Dylan Theroux, his friend that also didn't qualify to finish the job. Not a whole lot of damage. Little bumper love to the wall there on the left front. I don't think his day is done necessarily, but it's definitely not going to be getting started as we have a restart now. When we inside 10 to go, when we get going here.
Not much you can do at that point when you already have someone spinning right in front of you. In turn, with 10 to go, caution flag is out once again.
At that point, you risk getting run over yourself, and that's a whole different problem. You know, I'd rather spin the guy out in front of me than get spun myself.
Exactly. In turn, we're still under caution. Tonight's action brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more on the iRacing service. Subscriptions available as low as $8 a month. Once again, Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of NASCAR and the official series sponsor, the NASCAR C-Fix Series. There is one note when it comes to Fast Fridays. There were some adjustments to that format recently. There is the sign-up open for the races at MaconiSetupShop.com/Fast Fridays. It now features monthly $250 money races to make things a little bit interesting there.
I like money.
Everybody likes money.
You know what else I like more?
What?
Tires. And Chance Manning just came down. Actually, just got himself a brand new set. But that was his final set. So might be trying something little risky for the biscuit here. I don't think it's gonna help him a whole lot. The entire field's pretty close. Reeves came down behind him, got some damage fixed. Still pretty worn up. But Chance Manning at this point, NASCAR in the lead lap in 20th. He can't lose any spots, so why not try something a little bit different? Then again, new tires is what caused his demise at last time.
So we'll see how he fares out. There is some logic to that, though, because in theory, you're talking about a driver who basically just spun it around. Your tires are shot at the rock if you slide them for a lap, let alone spin them.
It definitely would make sense by that logic. We'll see if it helps him out at all. This is our third caution of the night. Wesley Parker has been the man to beat. Started up front. I think he's led practically every lap, if not every lap. And it's kind of interesting, though. He's got Dakota Longons outside and Thomas Reed behind him.
So just about prepared to get back going here. Lights expect to go out this time. Parker still with the fastest lap so far to set the bar for the C-Fix Series this week. Race trim. But now to the outside for the restart, it is not Thomas Reed. It's Dakota Long. Now keep in mind, he is another main fixture when it comes to C-Fix. Dolis runs the C-Fix whenever he can, it seems. I will say, remember I think it was with you where we learned about the method of people saying hello by using their door under pace laps and then putting them in the wall because a certain YouTube content creator is promoting it. Turns out if you joke about that, you end up getting hello sent to you from the door.
I love the door, let me tell you. I love using my door. I love sending people with my door. That sounds bad out of context.
It does. We'll see if Dakota Long sorts his way up to the point. Wesley Parker starts on the inside line. Jack Mace up to the top four. Tyler Merritt got shuffled back to fifth. Jonathan Tuckness has an air black flag, by the way, from the previous caution from the pit stop sequence. Wesley Parker looks to run away. Is it side by side for second?
7 laps to go, and we're going to have one more caution.
And it's at the very back of the field. It was offset 3 wide. Max Steinmeier, Lucas Strayer, and a couple others involved. And we're back under yellow.
Jeffrey Maconi involved, and innocent bystander. Let me tell Maconi, I don't think it should start I don't think it should qualify up front. This every time he qualifies up front, not great. They're going to see it happen right there. That's the blue car. That's Max Steinmeier. Kind of spins his tires. I don't know. Gets a little bit loose, and then he's got Lucas Strayer comes up onto him. It's kind of an offset staggered start. They both spun their tires at almost the same time and just kind of drifted high and drifted low. Lucas Lowe, the 19, definitely drifted up a little bit more than Matt came down, and Maconi was kind of there to finish the job. If Maconi wasn't there, I think it would have been okay, get it straight, but when we were trying to fight for every spot with less than 10 laps to go, that's kind of what happens. Oh, hard on the wall. Max Steinmeier goes.
And then it gets even worse. He could have been a bit okay, and then he full throttle basically into the wall. So once again, under caution, a reminder that there's only one green-white checker normally in C-Fix competition. There's a chance this comes down to the 2-lap shootout here, whether naturally or whether with that one attempt here, Braden. So how do you try and get this done for this race win?
Well, we saw it last week. We got a late race caution. We went ahead and used that one green-white checkered, and that completely changed the entire demographic of the race. I believe almost the entire top 10 changed than what it was before the caution. I mean, everyone, I don't think, is they're pretty much on the same strategy. Everyone has the same tires. You only ran 2-3 laps. Not even that since you got your fresh tires. So you're still trying to get heat in them, but time is ticked. I mean, we're going to go green here with only a handful of laps left, and the aggression level is going to be through the roof, and you almost expect another caution, so you won't make as many passes as you can, which then causes another caution. So I definitely expect us to use that green-white checker. If you make it back to the Y at that point, it's gloves out. I mean, you're putting your boxing gloves on, and you're just trying to make it to the finish under any circumstances you can.
Of note, by the way, Jonathan Tuckness is expected to take the wave around during this caution since he had to serve the black flag under green. But in turn, at this point, who's really stood out the most to you that we haven't talked about too much in your opinion, and why?
Andrew DeYoung is one that we talked about early in the race. He didn't qualify. He had a very quiet race. He has a very clean truck for the most part. He's in number 19. It's a beautiful truck. Currently looking outside the top 10. So he's currently in 12th spot, right behind Dylan Thero, another driver that didn't qualify. But Andrew DeYoung trying to sneak in the top 10 after not qualifying, and so far not a whole lot of damage. I mean, most of these guys have a little bit of a fender rub or a bumper, shoved a little too far in. But Andrew's had a very clean race so far tonight. Now Travis jinxed him. He's about to get right hooked into the wall, and we'll have the worst wreck we've ever seen at Rockingham. But we're gonna see how this one plays out.
Well, here's to hoping that jinx doesn't happen. If you're that one driver, because the lights are out, it's a natural green-white checkered. I mean, if we get to the white flag, it is done. If we get a caution, we get one more restart in this one. Once again, it's Wesley Parker and Thomas Reed, 1 and 2. Dakota Long did not get a good restart. Off from the outside last time. Jack Mates is in 4th still. Ronnie Joyner has gone from 14th to 5th. Tyler Merritt, Kyle Hardy, Matthew David Wood, your top 8. Of note, Joey Misavage amongst those who got some damage from the first big one of the day. He's back to 10th despite slamming it in the wall a couple times. So this should be an interesting restart here.
And to get that white flag, if you're second place, Thomas Reed of Dakota Long in 3rd, they're not getting a caution.
Wesley Parker last time went on green. Does he do the same here? The pace car is off as they go to the restart zone. 2 laps to go from the Rock. Green flags back out. Another good launch from Parker. Side by side for second as Dakota Long looks for the spot again.
Dakota Long goes from 3rd to 2nd through 1 and 2. Thomas Reed falling back to 3rd and now has trouble. Ronnie Joyner trying to steal that 3rd spot from him as everyone's getting real crazy behind them. We might not make it back, but Wesley Parker is hoping we do.
Looks like we do make it back. No spins coming to the white flag this time by. Here comes Dakota Long up the high side. As a big crash at the start and finish line. Long tries to get the diamond. Inside line for Parker. No close up from behind for Thomas Reed. One more chance. Dakota Long sends him. He sends himself. Into the wall goes Reed. Wesley Parker goes to the checkered flag to pick up the win at the Rock.
That was insane. Thomas Reed chastained it almost to get around a spinning Dakota Long, who still managed to bring it home 4th. Ryan Joyner still is 3rd at the line. We haven't talked about him almost at all tonight. Started 14th, one of our biggest movers throughout the field. But Wesley Parker gets it done at Rockingham.
Yeah, that was a lot that happened there. Let's take a look at some replays. Like, once again, the 15 earlier was in the wall. Believe may have returned there back to the wall. But more so, chaos reigned on the final start. Down the front straightaway, and especially for the send for the win, Wesley Parker. He didn't want to do much of the burnouts, it looks like, but the Corgis are happy. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the race results and talk post-race. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to The Rock for more coverage of the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series and its S.O.F race here tonight. Once again, Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR. Let's take a look at the race results. Wesley Parker leads all 40 laps on the way to victory tonight. He picks up the win over Thomas Reed. Those two ran 1-2 much of the night. Ronnie Joyner goes from 14th to 3rd, quietly in the end taking the 3rd spot from Dakota Lawn, who tried to send it so hard, he basically gave Wesley Parker a boost and nearly spun himself out. Jack Mason, a drag race, lost the spot for the top 5. Tyler Merritt, Kyle Hardy, Matthew David Wood, Chance Manning, after a couple spins, recovers to 9th. And how about the driver who started at the tail end of the field, the 21, Dylan Thiel, going from 22nd to 10th.
Masevich recovers after a lot of unfortunate series of events for him to finish just outside the top 10 and 11th. Stephen Daniel in 12th. Andrew DeYoung, he was my pick to have a good finish. He brings it home clean at 13th. Daniel Molinax, not a night he wanted to go for him. 14th, Jonathan Tuckton, his qualified top 5, finishes 15th. Max Steinmeier, we saw him wreck late in that race. Lucas Traer as well. And Tristan Bruce, Jacob Reeves, and Jeffrey Maconi round out your top 20. Those 3 involved in a wreck coming to the white flag. And then Ricky Howard Jr. does, I believe, actually bring it home. Just 20 laps down with a very damaged truck. And Jonathan Evans is going to be our only DNF tonight, 35 laps down.
So once again, reminder, the next time out for the series, we head back in time yet again. How about Willow Springs? Yes, for those who may not recognize their circuit, it recently was a part of Ford versus Ferrari. But if you look at the true history of the circuit, you talk about The Rock in terms of racing in North Carolina, Willow Springs, you'd have to talk about that in California.
That definitely will be an exciting track. I know I have never raced on there on the service. I'm sure most of these guys haven't either. Very, very unique track. I believe it's one of the bigger road courses we'll go to in the truck in general. Coming out 2.5 miles, I believe, was the layout we're using. So going to be interesting to see how the truckers navigate and make the most of it. We haven't gone to a road course in a while, so going to be interesting to see how these ones play it out.
It'll be a fun one at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, January 15th. On that note, we thank you and thank our race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, Maconi Competition, for calling the action and watching along with the action tonight. Myself, Justin Prince, alongside Brandon Laster, booth with DJ Lyon producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you stay tuned to all of our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time from Willow Springs.